Welcome back, True Seeker. December 31st, 2023, New Year's Eve. And sadly, annually at this time, a lot of strange headlines of dead celebrities. And one that's been buzzing the last couple days, young wrestling star in Europe, dead at age 26 for undisclosed reasons. We'll take a look at that. Today, on New Year's Eve, an Olympian track star murdered to death, murdered by stabbing at age 34. We'll look more carefully at that. Two athletes. The Olympian wife ran over by the husband today, and he's charged with the death of his wife. How strange. Also, big star in NASCAR from decades past. Born on the 86th day of the year, gone today. New Year's Eve, which this year happens to be a date with 86 numerology. Of course, we see that number a lot when it comes to suspicious passings. The term 86th to get rid of. A Japanese wrestling star, also gone here at the end of the year. And show you what's interesting about that in light of Vince McMahon, the face of the WWE. Maurice Hines, who lived a lot longer than his brother, gone at age 80. And we saw yesterday Richard Romanus also in the headlines, gone at age 80. We covered that in a short video. We'll briefly go back over it. Also, we covered the death of Tom Wilkinson and what his death has to do with the upcoming Oscars. We'll go over that again. And also briefly recap the unexpected death of Gil de Ferran, another race car superstar. But again, some of these could be natural occurrences. Some could be caused by other things that have happened in recent history. You know, a story I'm not covering today is just something that happened in Sweet Lady's world, and I suppose mine as well. One of Sweet Lady's co-workers in his mid-30s, he was found dead this morning, dead in his sleep. And you know, where they work, everybody had to get the old jab, if you know what I mean. And that's become quite a common story for a lot of people. You know, just never before seen such young people just dropping dead. But anyhow, every year at this time, New Year's Eve, New Year's, seems that there's a major upsurge in deaths in the headlines. And you might recall last year, we just couldn't keep up on New Year's Day. It was just one headline after the next. It's been like that in years past. We'll see what happens by tomorrow. But let's just go through some of these stories that are buzzing around. And let's start right here with the youngest. An athlete dead at 26 for undisclosed reasons. And again, if you're new here, Gematria comes from Kabbalah. It's the practice of coding numbers into words. There's a song out there, Gematria, the killing name. There's another song out there called Murder by Numbers. And when you become aware of this, there's very familiar number patterns. So this man died 2 days ago, December 29th. Died 10 days after his 26th birthday. And notice his name in Gematria. In the most pure cipher, Kurtis Chapman. Pythagorean gematria, reduction gematria, however you want to call it. If you're new here, you just take the alphabetic order and apply numerology. It's one of the 4 base ciphers. But notice how Kurtis Chapman equates to 55. 55 is the 10th triangular number. Again, he's dead 10 days after his birthday. 55 is also the 10th Fibonacci number. And if you don't know what triangular numbers are, Fibonacci numbers, pretty simple. If you add 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. If you add 1 through 11 together, it equals 66. So 66 would be the 11th triangular number. Fibonacci numbers, the Fibonacci sequence, if you want to look it up, it's a mathematical sequence. It's believed to be the mathematical signature of God. It's found in a lot of organic things, from us to leaves. But the 10th number in the Fibonacci sequence is also 55, which is interesting. And notice how in Gematria, again, if you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. Notice how Satan equates to 55 and 10, and when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, 80 and 35. The name Kurtis Chapman, the name of the young man who's dead at 26, His name is 55 and 80 like Satan. And again, dead 10 days after his birthday. And notice how God is also 26, but God is also 55 and 10. Again, he's dead 10 days after his 26th birthday. And Marilyn Manson, famous singer, member of the Church of Satan, he has the song Say 10, where the chorus says, "When you say God, I say 10. And, to me, this is the big clue about what these ritualistic deaths are about. You've seen the horror movies, the weirdos sacrificing people to Satan, the horror movies that have been made about this topic for generations. But it seems that it does go beyond Hollywood and horror movies. And again, you've seen celebrities allude to it too. I'll always bring up the Bob Dylan 60 Minutes interview who says, you want to make it in show business, you got to sell your soul. And the other year when the Super Bowl went to Minnesota, that's where Bob Dylan's from, a lot of people connected to Bob Dylan dropped dead. And maybe one of those headlines had been Bob Dylan if it hadn't been the 3 or 4 people who were close to him who all died instead. But anyhow, Kurtis Chapman, just 26 years old, gone in this pattern. And with regards to the Satan thing in this time of year, in the occult, Satan is related to Saturn, and Saturn's connected to death and judgment. And again, the Grim Reaper's scythe comes from the astrological symbol for Saturn. Right now, we are in the time of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And, to take that further, he died on 12/29, where the number 1229 is the 201st prime. And, of course, Saturnalia. It begins December 17th and ends December 23rd. So you have Saturnalia going into the start of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. But again, the whole 201 thing, you got the first Jesuit Pope born on Saturnalia, the first to live in Suite 201 in Gematria, sacrifice to Saturn's 201, Saturnian orders 201, Saturn worship is 201, like the Jesuit orders 201, like Order of Illuminati's 201, like how the Pope's birth name is 201. So his death on 12/29 factors in with the 201, which factors in with Saturn, which factors in with Satan, which factors in with the pattern behind the numbers of his death. And yeah, it's sad that this stuff goes on every year. And again, if you're into Revolution Wrestling, maybe write some letters to the people who run that and say, hey, what happened to Kurtis Chapman? And maybe look into the history of Revolution Wrestling, because we've covered a lot of these deaths over the years, and I don't feel like it's the first time Revolution Wrestling and a suspicious death of a young person's come up. We know in the WWE it comes up a whole heck of a lot. Seems like we're talking about the WWE quite often, and I know a lot of times there's WWE deaths, and I just can't keep up with everything else I'm tracking that day, so I just let it slip through the cracks. But anyhow, next up on the list, 34-year-old Olympian track star stabbed to death on New Year's Eve. They say they don't know the motive. They don't know who did it. They're looking for the killer. Here's everything that jumps out about this man being murdered at age 34. He was killed in the town of El Doré, if I'm saying that right. But notice the overlap with murder and El Doré, 79, 34, 38. And he was 34 years old, and his birthday is March 4th, which can be written 3-4. Can also be written 4-3, and he's dead 43 weeks after his birthday, where killing also equates to 43. And notice his surname, Kiplagat, which is 139, which is the 34th prime number. So, targeting somebody for a murder. Again, there's songs out there about this. Murder by numbers. It's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. There's Gematria, the killing name. And there's the same patterns over and over, day after day. So this poor guy, he's got the 3-4 birthday, only to be stabbed to death in 34 town at the age of 34. And yeah, so anyhow, RIP to him as well. And then you got a husband running over the wife, 2-star athlete. She's also an Olympian. They're both cyclists. She was 32 years old, and her surname Hoskins has the gematria 32. She's dead on her 311th day of her age, which is also 44 weeks and days into her age. Remember, 311's the 64th prime, and the word kill equals 64 and 44. You might recall April 4th of this year, you had the murder of Bob Lee, who was stabbed to death. And then on the same day, you had the death of a 44-year-old cyclist. Both deaths were in San Francisco. And then you might recall, the larger context of the Bob Lee death. He was known for making Square and CashApp, big in the digital currency world. And the Federal Reserve had announced that the first week of April they'd begin certifying the Fed Now digital currency. And they put out that announcement on March 15th, the Ides of March, to remember the stabbing of Caesar in 44 BC, only for on 4/4 to be 2 deaths in the same town on the same day, one of them a 44-year-old cyclist. Bob Lee was 43 years old, which means he was in his 44th year of his life. But, just the 44 thing comes up here again. Professional cyclists, New Year's Eve, and again, you can only wonder what's really going on. With regards to her husband, it was his 218th day of his age. The word death has the 218 gematria in the English extended cipher. Another fateful number, the number that foretold us what was coming October 7th with the 10-4 alert at 218. Again, if you missed our video on October 4th, you want to learn the relevance of how important this knowledge is. We saw on October 4th what was coming on October 7th, which was the war in Israel. All through this repetitive numerical sequence. But the other thing that it's noteworthy is it's 31 weeks after her husband's birthday on the 31st, which is the 11th prime, and it says that she retired from her big Olympics, her last Olympics. This woman was also 11 years ago, the 2012 Summer Olympics. But yeah, just bizarre stories year after year, New Year's and New Year's Eve. Here's another. I mean, how many people do you know that have ran over their significant other, their spouse? Okay, and then again, today, the way this New Year's Eve works out. 86 date numerology, of course, in Gematria. Blood sacrifice equals 86, like human sacrifice. Cale Yarbrough is dead today, and he's also born on the 86th day of the year. And that's part of my theory too for why they do this for New Year's Eve and New Year's. Again, it's a date that marks time, right? And all of these things are rituals and time. And in the case of Cale Yarbrough, he won his first NASCAR championship in '76, which was 47 years ago. Again, 47 is a special number because the word time equals 47. Like the tropics of this earth that measure time are 47 degrees apart. And you got the 47th problem of Euclid that's important to the Masons, and you got the compass for their logo out of the Scottish Rite of France set at 47 degrees. But 47 years after winning his first NASCAR championship, gone on New Year's Eve. So R.I.P. to him as well. And again, I mean, some of these could be by chance. There's a 1 in 365 chance to die on New Year's Eve. Same thing for dying on New Year's Day. And in the case of Killer Khan from the WWE, he actually also died on December 29th at the age of 76. But what jumps out about his death, whenever somebody dies in the WWE, I'll just quickly look to see how it lines up with Vince McMahon. And the word wrestling equals 127. I've seen this before with Vince McMahon. This man died 127 days after Vince McMahon's birthday. And he's a big star out of Japan. Japan has the gematria 42. He's dead 42 weeks after his own birthday. Also dead on that 12/29 date. But He said he was at a restaurant when he had an artery erupt. And, you know, bigger man, 76. Again, everybody's got an expiration date, but at the same time, in this world of celebrity, it seems like a lot of these people, they do not exit naturally. They exit ritualistically, especially as the new year comes around. And then Maurice Hines, he lost his brother years ago. His brother only made it to age 57, but what stands out about him dying at age 80 is Hines, the surname, has gematria of 80. And again, 80 also has that other connection, which we discussed with the death of the 26-year-old wrestler, and as we'll again revisit with the death of Richard Romanus, who was also reported dead at age 80 on the same day. But he lived a lot longer than his brother. He lived 23 years longer than his brother, who died at age 57. And then here he dies at the end of the year 2023. But his brother died at age 57, where Gregory Hines, his brother's name, has the gematria 57. Word entertainer's also 57. You might recall when Prince died at age 57, and Charlie Murphy, who was involved in the skits with Chappelle's show that had to do with Prince, he also ended up passing at 57. But yeah, Maurice Hines gone at age 80, also on 12/29, and again, just the connection with his brother's passing. So, man, and again, 80, the connection was Satan. Satan's connection was Saturn. Dead in the time of Capricorn on 12/29, as we covered earlier in the stream. And then Richard Romanus, also 80. I did a short video on this yesterday. And if you missed that, you might just want to go back and watch that. For people to watch that video, I don't want to be super redundant. But he was part of the Sopranos. And Frank Vincent and James Gandolfini, they both died by a very similar code. Also members of the same Sopranos show. And again, the James Gandolfini death, I think that's a really easy one to show people just in terms of understanding what's going on in the world with celebrity. You might recall it was quite shocking when James Gandolfini died. He was a big star at the time. Unexpected death. He was vacationing in Italy back in 2013. And again, the Sopranos star, right? So associated with the mafia, Italy. But the Sopranos came out in 99. Sopranos and Gematria equals 99. And James Gandolfini died on the 99th day of Pope Francis being in office. And again, the whole Illuminati thing. The Illuminati founded on the 99 date numerology. But yeah. Two men dead at 80 in the headlines at the same time. And then Tom Wilkinson, I also put out a short video on this yesterday. Dead at age 75. Oscars equals 75. Another guy who's won an Oscar, but he also starred in Michael Clayton, which equals 75. And he died 86 days after the anniversary of Michael Clayton. And remember, as the award ceremony comes up too, there'll probably be a number more of deaths that have this sync with the upcoming Oscars. Oscars has that gematria of 75. But again and again. And 75, it is a relatively long life to live. I think it's right around the average expectancy. But again, I mean, in the headlines, Michael Clayton, award-winning actor. And then you just take a look and you're like, well, look at that. Well, Michael Clayton, 75, 86 days later. Say it isn't so. And then also, again, Gil de Ferran, the reason that his death is so obvious is he won the Indianapolis 500, prestigious race. It's the only city in America that equals 201, dead on 12/29. And then again, dead at age 56, being from Jesuit land, Paris, France, which is 56201 land. And yeah, again, just an unexpected heart attack, shocking death. And actually, something that we did notice, you know, he was for Penske Racing. We talked about how where he died equals 266. Look at, let me put in Roger Penske's full name here. This is the one thing I missed in the video I did on it. Penske's full name, 266, right? We're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Mr. 201, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the 266th Pope in the history of the Church. The Jesuit motto, Jesus Hominum Salvator, 266, 85, just like Roger Penske's full name. The 95 jumps out too because the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses. The 193 stands out as well because, or what is it? Is it Catholic? I can't think right now. Is it Roman Catholic Church? That's what it is. Roman Catholic Church is 193. So, again, we're on the Catholic Church's calendar. The English language, the oldest script, goes back to the church. Ancient Roman Saturnalia festival related to sacrifice. Again, the new year in the time of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. I think it's all pretty transparent what's going on. So, anyhow, what's funny around here is not only did we have the death of Sweet Lady's coworker, who was found dead in his sleep by his wife. Sweet Lady also had another tragedy. She lost her cousin the other night in Thailand, and he was out on his motorbike drinking and drank too much and hit the side of the highway, and it's a road above a road, and he went over the edge and he came down right in front of a big truck and got smacked on the way down. And just a reminder for all the people going out tonight, don't become a statistic, because it happens to people every year. And I always think about the two brothers that I grew up with that didn't even make it out of high school because of a drinking and driving thing. But a fun moment can become disaster in the snap of fingers. And yeah, anyhow, I do got to admit, man, I like, after doing this for so long, I really do dislike covering this year after year, but I don't know. I feel like it's important to continue to document the obvious ritualism in the world of entertainment, and it happens to young and old. And I don't know how it'll ever change unless it's exposed to enough people catch on to what's taking place literally in this world. And again, if you've never seen Bob Dylan talking about how you got to sell your soul to make an entertainment show business, look up that interview. Bob Dylan, Ed Bradley, 60 Minutes, selling your soul. You can't miss it. You can also look up the clip of Obama and LeBron laughing so hard about selling their souls on The Barber. Or is it called The Shop? Maybe it's called The Shop. And I'm sure they're just a few names and a long list. There's probably a few other examples out there. Shout out to Willius19. Appreciate that. Thank you again to Open Up. Kurt Angle, huh? He better be careful then. Shout out to John Mendoza as well. And thank you to James Joel. Yeah, indeed. Don't drink too much. And yeah, don't smoke too much too, man. It just seems like some people like are just abusing. Like just blunt after blunt. So, indeed. All things in moderation. And yeah, definitely take care of yourself, because even if you avoided the cooties jam, cheers to you if you did. There's just so many toxic things in this world, and again, eating right, exercising, making sure you're getting enough sleep. It's essential. It's essential for the day and age we live in, because again, there's agendas to get rid of people and to accelerate people's decline on this earth. And Yeah, if you're the type of person that makes New Year's resolutions each year and then, they only last a week, maybe a month, and then it's over, try not to do that this year. And again, for the person who does not exercise and hates exercise, like my father, I'm giving up. I've been trying to get him to exercise forever. I can't do it. It annoys him every time I bring up anything. I brought over a small piece of exercise equipment. He's like, I don't want to use it. I'm just like, God, what do we? Ah. But anyway, I mean, it really, if you do not exercise at all, if you can figure out a way to incorporate a few minutes a day, not even 5 minutes, if you can get in 2-3 minutes a day of exercise, it makes a huge difference from doing absolutely nothing. You know? Jump rope. If you gotten too big and that's too hard on your knees and your feet are sore, that might not be the best one. But jump rope, I mean, you jump rope for a minute, you go hard, that's good for you. If you can get on 100 jump rope, work up a sweat, that's good. You can get in some push-ups, some sit-ups, anything. A piece of equipment that can fit in a small space that's nice to have is like a pull-up and dip bar. If you can, they usually cost about $150. You can find them at like a secondhand store sometimes, like a Goodwill. They'll just be out there for like $20. Sometimes you'll see them. They're in stock. You drive by. But, you need about like a 3-foot by 3-foot corner to put it in. Just using your own natural body weight can be totally sufficient. Bust out some pull-ups and some dips, some push-ups, few crunches. Buy a $5 ab roller. Some people can't do the ab roller. If you get an ab roller and you can't do it even one time, I mean, just work at it each day until you can, and then before long you'll be able to do plenty. But yeah, it's just like I only met the coworker of Sweet Ladies who was found dead this morning. And it's sad because I only met him one time, and it was about a few years ago now. But I met him and his wife. It was at a gathering for her employees, a birthday party, and I just remember those two because they were like the life of the party. They were both a little chubby. They could have stood to lose a few pounds, but again, he's only in his mid-30s. Mid-30s. So, and with regards to that, let me see if this will pull it up. Pretty sure this is what the headline said. Hold on. Look at this. This is from, this headline's almost 2 years old right here. Urgent warning as 300,000 Brits living with a stealth disease that could kill within 5 years. And I got another headline from another part of the world that's very similar, but it was more of an international headline, and it said over the next 5 years, this new unexplained heart problem could take millions of lives worldwide. So, and like I said, even if you didn't get the cooties jab, good for you, but between all the weird stuff in food and water and air and spray and God knows what else they're doing, all kinds of reasons to make sure you're doing at least a little something to optimize your health or make it more optimal. So. Anyhow. Yeah, the thing is, if you read the headlines about that, they make it seem like it's the illness. If you ever got the illness, that's what's doing it to people. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's not that. I'm pretty sure it's the other thing. The one that Bill Gates talked about in his 2010 TED Talk. He said just how we can get it down. We got to get the carbon emissions down, so we might have to get the people down. And here's a few ways we can get the people count down. I mean, he was real clear about what he said. Yeah, indeed. So, I'm just checking out what's in the chat. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, stretching indeed. Stretching's another good thing to do. I'm pretty guilty of that one. I don't do a whole lot of stretching, but I need to. You're right about that. Stretching's definitely good for your body. I stole the sweet lady term from old Tyrese. So working out on a trampoline. I've never tried that one. Huh. Just thinking, get exercise from jumping on a trampoline. I guess it's the jumping. Yeah. Things to make sure that you have in terms of supplements. Not all supplements are created equal. First of all, like try to look where the source of the vitamins come from in the supplements. Like some are completely synthetic. You don't want that. They're usually the cheapest ones. But make sure you got plenty of vitamin D. A lot of people are vitamin D deficient, and when you're vitamin D deficient, you start having all kinds of health problems. Vitamin D is like crucial for your immune system and all kinds of things, your digestive tract. But yeah, good supplement. Make sure you take it routinely. If you guys notice, like I stay pretty healthy, so um, and again, I always try to make sure I get enough sleep, which is like at least 6 hours. Optimal is probably at least 7. Some people feel like they need more sleep, but if you're eating well and your nutrition's good, you're probably pretty solid with at least 7 hours of sleep. So, especially this time of year when everybody's sick. Yeah, zinc. Yeah, indeed, zinc's another one. By the way, Mom, if you're out there, I don't need any more zinc. My mom likes to send me zinc in the. It's like, how many zinc am I supposed to be taking? I mean, I have like a. If anybody needs any zinc, I can send you some of my zinc supplements. I got so many. Because I can't keep up, it'll expire. I don't know what my mom's deal is. She's just like notorious for sending. I'm like, Mom, are you taking the vitamins like the way you're supposed to take them? Are you taking extra doses or what? Because like I can't. I'm taking my zinc every day and I can't keep up. But yeah, zinc is another good one. So nice work, Slick Nick. Cardinals upset the Eagles too. We knew they had a good shot as a big dog. Um, can I add a motorsports section? I think you guys have the ability to create like sections for topics you want to discuss. I can look into it. I got to be honest too. I pay a lot of money every month for the website, and I don't see enough people using it. I'm like, is this the best use of resources? I mean, I put so much money into the websites now because we've had them for what, like 4 or 5 years, and my hope was that just more people would organize and network and do things, and I don't know. I'm debating if it's worth the cost. I always have to pay the bills at the end of the month, and it's like I don't know. It's to date, I haven't seen anything come out of it that I would hoped would have by now. I don't see I guess that's just the problem I'm just seeing is there's just like not a lot of people that are that motivated to network and organize and do things in their own community. So the website's expensive. The website's expensive. So I had to pay 3 bills this month. So there's an annual expense I have to pay for the website, which is nearly $2,000, and then there's a monthly bill, and part of it's to the team that I use to manage the website for when there's a problem they fix things. But each month there's 3 bills pertaining to the sites, and one's 800, another one's 225, and another one's $80 plus the annual 2,000 fee. So over the course of a year. It actually used to cost more. The Mighty Networks thing, the thing I like about Mighty Networks is it actually costs a little bit less than what it used to cost, and it's better. So that's the good news, is we're spending less in the last year and a half, but it's still a lot. And I mean, if more people were using it and networking and organizing, it would totally be worth it, but I don't see a whole lot of activity on there. And yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't want to give it up though. I'm just like, I'm hoping like somehow, some way, like the vision will be fulfilled and more people will use it for what the plan was. And the other thing that's nice about it is, again, in this age of censorship, you have unlimited space to post whatever you want there, and it's not going to get taken down. So the only people who've ever lost their content there are the trolls, and who cares if we're getting rid of the trolls? I don't know if I'm being ripped off. I mean, if you use the website, it's a high quality website, and all website services are pretty expensive. So the thing is, it's high capability. So I mean, if there was like 100,000 people using it, it would still then it would definitely be worth it. But I'm not really selling anything on that website. I use it as an alternative to Patreon for people who don't want to use Patreon. There's one section on there for the sports. That's the only thing that has an expense to it. But not that many people use it for the sports. Most people are just on the Patreon. On my actual own website, I do have things for sale, but I don't really advertise it very much. And there's only one person in the world who really buys anything from there. Shout out to Carl. Well, sadly, tonight's news is what it often is this time of year, just a whole bunch of bizarre deaths in the world of entertainment and celebrity. So, but yeah, if you guys are not on the website, maybe you know, it's a good place to post your own research, try to network, organize, find other people in the community. Again, my vision for it was always that people would organize and network and work together. And we did have one gentleman from Chicago put together a group of people, and they were getting out and pounding pavement in Chicago. But I don't know what happened to that guy. He seemed to lose his mind. So that was unfortunate. All right. Anyhow, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. And if anything crazy happens between now and midnight, I'll definitely be back. But if not, don't party too hard. Hangovers not good for you, and definitely be safe on the road, because even if you are, could be a crazy person out there who's not. Shout out to Carl. Carl's the man who uses the store and spreads the merchandise. I appreciate it, Carl. Uh, huh. Okay. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Have a good night, all, and until next time.